It's time for Optimum's Red Hot Sale. Get 200 meg internet, TV with over 260 channels, and unlimited home phone, all for $69.99 a month for 1 year guaranteed. And for a limited time, HBO and Showtime are included for 1 year. Switch today. Click for details and special web-only offers.
This is episode 794 of No BS Job Search Advice Radio. I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and welcome. It's July 4th, 2017 in the United States as I record this. And this is going to be an atypical show for, well, it's going to be atypical. I'll just put it that way. Because over the last week or so, an idea came to mind for me that I thought I would reach out to you folks about and see if you might appreciate it, value it, and be willing to share it. And it's the idea of 100 million new jobs created by the end of 2020. You see, there was a time in my life when we dreamed big and set ambitious collective goals. I think of President Kennedy setting a vision for that an American would walk on the moon by the end of this decade. And it happened, but he didn't live to see that. In the 1960s, a man walked on the moon based upon a vision that President Kennedy set out. And we don't do that kind of stuff anymore. We don't really think of collective visions and rally behind them, except periodically military ones. Defeat an enemy. It's not part of what politicians ask us to do. They've stopped really inspiring a nation, let alone multiple nations, to take such a dramatic and positive actions. So with economies changing and with the world becoming more complex, many have been left behind. According to one statistic I've seen, global unemployment currently exceeds 200 million people. 200 million people, many of them younger, who've been unable to find their place in the world of work, some because they lack skills, some because they lack access. There are many reasons for it, and I don't know that I can suggest how to solve that. I'll defer that to others. But what's happened, instead of our focusing on things like this that I think are a collective problem in our country and in others, other politicians have done an extremely good job of turning ourselves against one another rather than working toward making progress toward a different shared vision that we can work together on while still respecting our differences and helping more people help them get some level of success, not just by American standards, but by theirs. So I arrived at this discussion with the opinion that when people work, they feel more productive and better about themselves. They take those feelings into their relationships and interdependencies with others and families. And I also know that not all work will seem meaningful by my standards, your standards, and many in the dominant culture standards. But we have to look through the eyes of a younger person in the U.S. or Africa, Europe, or Asia, and see opportunities for them and their families. So in the U.S., the phrase that's often repeated is that there are some jobs that Americans would not do anymore. That perhaps there are many I'll simply say that maybe there are people in your nation that are doing work that the dominant culture is unwilling to do. So what came to me was the idea of offering a vision for the balance of this decade. And that is, by the end of 2020, let's work together to create 100 million new jobs or solo businesses worldwide. Let's create a climate where business wants to hire people throughout the world. Let's see tax policy that offers apprenticeships and training for people in manufacturing and other trades. Let's have each nation see what they can do to foster a climate and education where people want to work and are able to work. And my thought becomes creating a global initiative to create 100 million new jobs by the end of 2020 and see how different our relationships become. Are you with me? Would you like to join in this effort? Send me an email at 100millionjobs@gmail.com if you are. Share the vision. Take action toward it. Encourage your employer to train people for jobs in your country rather than make them pay for their own skills. Because I see this happening everywhere. Companies are making people learn for themselves and pay for themselves how to learn job skills. Encourage tax policy that will create 100 million new jobs worldwide. Share this vision. Let's share this dream, and let's put politicians to work creating the climate for 100 million new jobs to be created, rather than fostering hatred of one another and our differences. And I want to encourage you, share this podcast with others. Just share it. Let's see whether it resonates with other people. Send it to politicians of your choice and let them know you want them focusing on creating 100 million new jobs. And by the way, if you know how to translate this, please feel free to translate it into any language and share it. I just believe that as we learn of new jobs being created through emails from those of you out there, that we're going to make a huge difference in our world. So again, share the vision. If you'd like to do an interview with me for a podcast or a TV show or some news or media purpose, again, use that same address, 100millionjobs@gmail.com, and put the word interview in the subject line. I'll be back tomorrow with more that's far more traditional from me, and I hope you join me in this effort. So that's today's show. I hope you found it helpful. And if you did, here are a few ways to connect with me. First of all, if you're interested in one-to-one coaching from me, email me at jeffaltman@thebiggamehunter.us. In the subject line, put the word coaching. This way I know what it's about. I can get back in touch with you. We'll figure out a time to speak for an introductory conversation so that I learn what your needs are and you can figure out if I'm the right person to help you. Generally, I work with people at a manager level and above, but I do make exceptions from time to time. If you're not at that level and want advice from me, the best way is through JobSearchCoachingHQ.com. There I have curated information that I've developed and others have as well that you can watch, listen to, or read that's going to help you find work more quickly. Again, you can ask me questions through the site. I'd be very happy to answer your questions. I look forward to helping you in either of those two ways. And if we're not connected on LinkedIn, send a connection request to me at linkedin.com/IN/TheBigGameHunter. Mention that you listen to the show because I love hearing from fans, from listeners who have been helped by the show. And like me on Facebook. The page is facebook.com/NoBSCoachingAdvice.com, or look for Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter there. Give me 5 stars, a great review. It helps other people discover the show. And I'll be back tomorrow with more. In the meantime, have a great day. Take care.
And now, insurance-minded speeches from Geico.
Hardship. My grandmother would go through it every month to pay her insurance bill. First, she would handwrite a paper check, in cursive. Then, using her own tongue, she would wet a stamp for an envelope. Today, however, we need not weary our hands and tongues. Today, we can pay our Geico bill with the Geico app. Away with hardship, in with bill pay on the Geico app. Thank you.